The full commission meeting of the Greater Hilltop Area Commission. Tonight is Tuesday, December 5th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. We're here at the Hilltop branch of the Columbus Metropolitan Library. As it's 6:30, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. I want to ask our secretary if you could do a roll call, please.
Yes, Chair Fagan.
Here.
Vice Chair Reese-Bryant.
Here.
Treasurer Paxton.
Here.
Secretary Ardreth, President. Commissioners, starting with Rachel Lenny.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Bruno.
Here.
Paxton.
Here.
White.
Here.
Dallas. Here. Maddox.
Here.
Stryker.
Here.
Klein.
Here.
And absent are Commissioner Moore and Arnett Kidd.
And Jenny Kepler is also.
Oh, yeah, I think Kepler's.
Yeah.
I think it's 12%.
Yeah. Okay, so the agenda, I didn't have paper copies distributed tonight, but on the next slide, you'll be able to see, or next couple of slides, you'll be able to see a copy of the agenda. We'll go to the next slide, if you don't mind, Josh. Good chance. Victoria's going to talk about the purpose and function of an area commission.
So, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thank you. I can't help, I was in education for a long time. Okay. So the purpose and function of area commissions, Columbus City Code 3109.01. Area commissions are established to afford additional voluntary citizen participation in decision-making in an advisory capacity and to facilitate communication, understanding, and cooperation between neighborhood groups, city officials, and developers. For more information, go to https://columbusareacommissions.org.
Thank you, Victoria.
You're welcome.
So here's a pretty small copy of the agenda. We're going to start with City of Columbus staff reports. We're going to open it up to any announcements. We have 2 presentations. Our committees will all do a report out. We've got some new business at the end of the agenda. We'll probably go till about 8:15 at the latest. So I'm going to ask if there's any additions, deletions from commissioners regarding the agenda for tonight. Hearing none, I'm going to make a motion to go ahead and approve the agenda as it is.
Second.
Thank you, Leah. Second. So moved. So let's move on to approving our minutes from our last full commission meeting. Secretary Ardreth has sent those out to everybody. Does anybody have any additions, comments, edits, corrections?
Yeah.
There's always a really great job on those.
Yeah.
They're timely, they're thorough, they're complete. Very much appreciated. So can somebody make a motion to approve our minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Second again from Commissioner Brennan. So moved. Moving on to our City of Columbus staff reports. I put this on the agenda each month, not always knowing that people are going to be able to come. But I didn't see Sergeant Brophy here or anybody from the Division of Police. Sometimes he or others will come in late. So
We have to vote. Oh.
On the meeting minutes.
On the
Somebody
meeting.
seconded, but we have to vote.
oh, we have to vote. Okay, so all in favor of approving the minutes from our last full commission meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody does not want to approve them? Unanimously approve them. Thank you. Robert will be proud. Yeah, so from our city attorney's office, I'm not sure how much longer Zach One's going to be able to represent as our own attorney, but I put him on the agenda. I didn't reach out to him. I haven't heard from Zach, so probably busy tonight doing something else, but if he comes in, we'll certainly give him time to give a report from the city attorney's office. From city council, Avery Townsend has accepted a new role with the city council. She's an aide to Councilman Remy.
Yes.
And so the folks from, is anybody here tonight? Megan was going to be here, the intern, or Stanley. Don't see either. So we'll see. Maybe they're just a little later. We were going to have Morgan, one of the interns working with city council, was going to be here tonight. I expect that she'll maybe be here later. And Olabisi from the Department of Neighborhoods. We are flying through this agenda
I
today.
know. No one's here.
She sent out the bulletin today.
She did. She sent out the bulletin. If you've not seen the bulletin, it's fantastic. So Haven't heard from LBC if she's not gonna be here. Here she
There
is. Let's give her a chance to kind of get settled.
Let's give her a hand.
Yeah, welcome LBC. We're gonna give you a chance to get settled because we're flying through the city of Columbus staff reports. And so whenever you're ready, let me know. We can come back. Ready? Because I don't see Nick here either, because Nick from the Department of Neighborhoods usually gives us an update on the Envision Hilltop plan and that work. Busy time of the year.
The next meeting, I think, is this Friday.
The next meeting of Envision Hilltop is this Friday. When we go around to make announcements, I'll make sure that we get specifically the date and time. And is it a full meeting or is it one of the sections of the plan? Okay, really, Elise, are you okay to make some announcements? Or? Got the microphone, just turn it on.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
All right, I don't have very many announcements tonight, other than Songs on Sullivan. It's set for December 16th. That's next Saturday from 4:30 to 6 p.m. Oh, sorry, catching my breath. It'll be at the Lower Lights Early Childhood Enrichment Center. I think that's 2323 Sullivan Avenue. Santa will be there. There'll be a live band. There'll be free gifts, free coats and treats. So I hope to see all of you there. And happy holidays to everyone. That's pretty much all I have for you. For those that are rolling off commission, I know I think I may have said this last month, but I'll say it again since I get to see you again. Thank you so much for your service. Really appreciate all the work that you've done for Hilltop, but please don't be a stranger. You know, I still have your email, so, you know, please expect at least the weekly bulletins from me, but we'll definitely be reaching out, and please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or need any help with anything. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you, LBC. That's a nice segue into announcements. So commissioners serve 3-year terms when you're elected or when you're in an appointed seat. And so Victoria Klein, who is here with us tonight, has been serving for the last 3 years. And just want to say thank you for being a part of this commission and all the work that you've done completely over the last 3 years. Thank you very much. Josh Paxton has completed his 3rd year as a commissioner and will no longer be with us after this meeting. So thank you for all the work you've done also. You hit the ground running, both of you, and Leah Bredno, who actually has served tirelessly on this commission also, done a remarkable job, is going to be leaving us this is her last meeting also. And then Kayla Davis, who's been in our appointed seat for a shorter term, but will no longer be with us after this meeting. So I genuinely, wholeheartedly thank all of you. It's been a pleasure to work with you. You've made a real difference for me as a neighbor and somebody that really cares about this community. I just want to ask if everybody can give them a round of applause.
Absolutely.
We put our calendar on our website. If you want to come to committee meetings, any full commission meetings, you are welcome at any time. So as Victoria said, we have a website. You can go there and see our calendar of any meetings whatsoever. So great. So any other announcements from commissioners? Anybody would like to make any announcements? Rachel.
I have something in response to OBC's email today about code drive. Just has their serve that they do every other Saturday at Burgess and Sullivan. And this week, this upcoming Saturday, they're gonna have code. So if anyone needs one, they can come in there. But they also have, they serve a hot meal. They do giveaways of other clothing, household items, sanitary supplies, harm reduction supplies. So really it's a big event every other week, Saturdays at 12 p.m. It usually runs for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. But yeah, they set up at noon. So thank you so much.
I'm going to be attending the Zone in Columbus Advisory Council meeting tomorrow at 4 o'clock. It's always forget the address. It's on Front Street. It's there in the parking garage in the meeting room on the first floor. The meeting's open to the public, but it's a ongoing project for 3 years where City of Columbus is going through and redoing its zoning ordinances or ordinances related to zoning. They haven't been looked at in 70 years, and so there's a total kind of overhaul of those. So that means open to the public. Just try to report out what's happening on a regular basis. So, any announcements from anybody here attending tonight? Any announcements you'd like to share? Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Monique, and I work with the Columbus Care Coalition. So we are hosting a community advocacy training in partnership with OSU and Steve David, who pretty much runs the advocacy department at OSU. So he's going to be putting on a training on Saturday, this upcoming Saturday at the library in the 2. So he's just going to be talking about ways to engage like elected officials and how to change policies and how they come together as a community to identify issues. So if you guys are interested, I do have some flyers that are up there at the fair. So we'll be doing this on Saturday at 12:30.
Thank you, Monique. Any other announcements? Okay, yeah.
I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but I work for the Office on Aging, and I run a kinship program for folks like grandparents who have custody of their grandkids. We have a lot of resources for them. So I put some flyers over there. I don't know if that's, I'm allowed to say that there.
Yeah.
Well, you've already said it, right? Yeah, so that's good. It's on record.
Aging and its kinship program. So these are older adults that are raising
It could be anybody who's raising a non-biological child.
Okay, great. Thank you for being here.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Does it have to be formalized, like?
No, because there are a lot of informal families. Yeah. So, yeah.
Thank you.
They just have to live with them in Franklin County.
Okay. Do they have to show proof of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Hearing any more announcements? Okay, let's move on to the presentation section of our agenda. I entitled this "Concerns about the City of Columbus's Proposed Use of a Parcel That's Located at 66 Highland Avenue." So Shelley Casto, who's the executive director of the Highland Youth Garden, is here to kind of talk about what your concerns are, the concerns of maybe other people, and you have a presentation for us. I know we've got a couple of visuals to go with it. So
Yeah, thank you.
Can you hear me?
yeah, you know what I might do? I think this might is a lot better. Check it out.
Okay, yep, sounds like that's working. So hello, thank you for giving me a few minutes today. Again, my name is Shelley Casto. I'm Executive Director at Highland Youth Garden. And I started in 2020, and at least since that time, there has been a very large empty lot right across Highland Avenue from where we are. And I brought these photos to try to orient you. You can see Highland Elementary School in the sort of top right of the left-hand photo. And then you can see the new Early Learning Center that is right next to it. And then if you forward again, whoop, yep, to the next, yeah, one more. There you go. You can sort of see the lot behind our garden, and then it ends all the way at Floral. So it is a 1.4 acre lot that has been vacant for a long time. The city has purchased this lot, and you can go ahead and show the schematic, the next slide. There you go. Well, actually, prior to that, I want to, yeah, there we go. Well, in between. There we go. Yeah, great. So you can see there in the green is or around the green is the new Early Learning Center. 010-066-711 is Highland Elementary School, and 010-00589 is the J. Ashburn Center. And the plot in question is 010-066-883. So that plot is now owned by the City of Columbus. It is fenced in. And in my efforts to just find out what's happening with that plot, I've been told it's all slated for parking. I have called the mayor's office. That is what I was told. We have seen some activity over there. And I think myself and those of us who are part of the educational consortium here of the Highland Elementary School, the GHAC Center, and the Early Learning Center are all concerned that that is a heck of a lot of parking in a residential neighborhood. I will say that there are concerns about parking. There's no question that teachers at Highland Elementary and at the Early Learning Center do need parking. They have in fact been renting some spaces from the J. Ashburn Center to make that work, although the J. Ashburn Center notes that most of those rented spots are vacant, are not used.
Oh.
So I think we're pretty far away from needing 1.4 acres of parking. And so I am really just trying to make this issue known to the city. Not that we want to take it over or necessarily have clear plans for it, but rather that those of us who are working so hard to engage the community and teach children would really like to have some seat at the table in terms of what does happen in that plot. So if you forward along, I will add that it's not that we don't have any ideas. Of course, we do have ideas. And you know, to be honest, could help fund a green space in that plot. You can see that I did have pod design, do a schematic here. We are actually going to hire them to this spring to create a natural playground at another plot that we take care of close to the garden. But they very graciously also ran the schematic, which you can see is really just a fifth or a quarter of that giant plot. That could be turned into a playground space. You know, there are, while the city might fund some of it, you know, there are some connections that we've got that we could contribute to that effort. But we do need to have a seat at the table and some discussion about what that might look like. I will also note that the Highland Elementary School did lose some play space, some outdoor play space, with the construction of the Early Learning Center. Everyone in the neighborhood knows that. They remember that. I think that we owe those kids some green space. So my ask is that the commission at least sign on to the letter that I have in hand as a co-signatory, which really is merely asking for the city for a seat at the table and discussions around this, not that there be a particular plan. And you know, if possible, even a standalone letter raising concerns about this. I do, if individual residents would like to sign on, I'm going to leave these at the side table. You can do that as an individual resident as well.
Okay. Great. So are there questions for Shelley?
Is there any finite number of parking spaces that the aforementioned buildings need?
So the question, I'll just repeat. So are there a finite number of parking spaces that the buildings need? I'm sure there is a formula. I haven't been informed. I've asked what that formula is, but I haven't been informed.
Then the Early Childhood Learning Center, I'm messing the name of that up, but when they came to us for variances, they got a parking variance because they said there was sufficient parking on the street, and they did a parking study. So we could look at least and go back and give you the link to the video so you can see what they said at that meeting.
That would be great. That would be very helpful. Just as a side note, the city of Columbus did build that facility, right? And continues to. Yes.
So under your plan, would that be partially owned? Like, would you have to split up the lot, or would that still be totally owned by the city?
I'm not suggesting the city release ownership of that in any way, shape, or form.
Gotcha. So they would you enter into an agreement that the Highland Youth Garden would maintain that portion of
If
it?
they would like to do that, I am open to that discussion.
Okay.
Can you touch on any conversations you've had so far with the mayor's office? Have they given you any inclination or idea into the timeline, into whether they're willing to engage, into nothing?
I've had 2 conversations and both of them have indicated that if there is an opportunity for discussion, I will be informed.
But otherwise, they're moving forward with the parking lot.
Can they share, this, possibly related to the
Could you repeat?
The question is it possibly related to Lingus? I've not heard that. Knowledge of that. The only, the answer I was given is that they believe the entire plot is being used for parking. They will check and get back to me.
Shelley, have you thought about what does that potential park space mean in terms of the number of parking spots that would go away? Do you have any estimation of that? I'm sorry. I mean, like if this, like is this 20 parking spaces potentially? Yeah, you don't know.
I mean, I know.
Yeah.
I have not been shared any more information than what I just.
Okay, okay,
And of course, this is a pure concept.
Sure,
It doesn't have to be there. It doesn't have to be that much. It doesn't,
sure.
it's really just an idea. Wouldn't it be great if there was a space for the kiddos from Hilltop Early Learning, Highland Elementary to intermix, get some nature, then come over the garden, right?
Sure.
And then it be open to all, just like the gardens.
Do you already have a letter typed up that
Yep.
you'd like us to sign off on?
Right. Yep, I'll put it over there for folks to see. Really.
I just want to read it.
yeah, I just wondered, Shelley, if you could kind of highlight the letter for everybody that pass around copies or just highlight as the letter. We can certainly talk about a standalone letter, but I've seen this letter, but I'll just make sure everybody got a chance to see it. So.
Sit down.
Sorry that I didn't bring more copies of that, my apologies. But the ask in the letter is simply, could you involve us in conversations about the plot? We would love to see green space, but the ask is, talk to us.
That's a question on the back.
Bring in.
Have you, communicated with the Early Learning Center and, what are their thoughts?
They're all signed on to this letter already. Yeah, as well as the GHAC.
That's good enough. Is there anybody that lives on Highland or anybody that's a neighbor that's here tonight has anything to add or?
I will say that the Highland West Civic has also signed on, so.
Perfect, yeah. Does anybody else need to see a copy of the letter? So again, I don't know the process exactly. I put this on the agenda as new business later on, just so that we could get an opportunity to actually put this to a vote. You do it now, I suppose. Like, you know, if we don't have any more questions or comments. You do, Joe.
That's 1.4 acres.
Yes, 1.4 acres.
Have you considered going bigger with the green space?
Oh, I'd love the whole thing to be green space. I mean, I run a garden, let's face it.
Right, I just had to ask because they did lose green space when they were in the learning center. right?
Yes, just trying to be modest, be modest. It was a bit.
And Rachel's, your comment was, you know, is actually absolutely correct because, you know, there was concerns, would there be parking available for what would be a growing group of staff and all the partners that were going to be there at the Early Learning Center to be able to park. There was real concerns about, is there enough space?
I do want to clarify that the Early Learning Center is not fully staffed and not fully operational. So I do want to make that clarification.
Mhm.
It's, I believe they have 3 classrooms open now out of 8. So that is, you need to know that.
Mhm.
We have had presentations to this body before saying that green space reduces violence over just open parking spaces. It, you know, just improves health outcomes. Like we've heard all of these presentations before.
Storm mitigation.
Absolutely. If we are writing a letter, I would love to see us maybe touch on some of that.
Yeah, I mean.
Some of them have been.
We can pull directly from.
What's the
vision.
point of putting in all of these rain gardens and drainage things and then putting in
An acre and a half of just paved.
Like. Well, especially after they already had a variance.
Yeah.
Right, they
and
requested a
did a
variance.
traffic study?
Yeah.
And said there's enough parking.
Well, I feel like the biggest issue was that the church wasn't gonna sell that property to the city to begin with, but as of June this year, they said yes to that. So I feel like all of that was viewed to the point that they wanted to get the center done regardless whether or not they had parking, but now they've come to some agreement with the church that I'm also typing up a letter to Morgan Wade, who's our Parks and Rec representative for the Hilltop. I just kind of find it odd that it wasn't brought up to either them or us that they purchased this parking lot, because I couldn't imagine that the whole entire thing's gonna be a parking lot, but she might know something, so just throw up with that.
Have they broken ground on anything? Have they done?
They are doing some
They're
things,
doing
and we've gotten a little nervous. We have not seen any concrete yet. It appears that they're just, they're clearing things out. They put some fencing off that seems to, designate certain areas. I'm not sure what for. They've fixed the fence, which is great, but
I could see how there could be a really well done, like lighted, speed bump, going from the corner over to where your high tunnel is, and, I think
yeah.
it's safe.
amazing.
So Shelley, this letter is here tonight, and you've had the Highland West Civic Association, the Early Learning Center, J. Ashburn Center Club, Boys and Girls Club. We could vote on this, and you would like to add the Greater Hilltop Area Commission to this, or just signatures on the back?
I would love just an official GHAC, sign on. And again, if someone's willing to do a unique letter, that's just that much more powerful. I'll put it all with the same presentation.
Okay, so what I'll bring forward then is a motion to sign this letter, or say that we as the Greater Hilltop Area Commission will be in support of what's in this letter. And I don't know if I can make a compound motion or not, but make another second motion would be to do a unique letter from us as the Greater Hilltop Area Commission. We can draft and put that together, and then I as the chair can sign off of that and send it in if so approved. So sure.
When are you going before the city, or when do you have a meeting?
I don't have a meeting. My plan was to send this to, City Council President Hardin and the mayor's office, December 15th. That date can be adjusted, but that's my goal date. And after that, I will request a follow-up. So,
Will you include like Division of Planning or any of the other department heads?
upon your recommendation, I'd be
I'd
happy
say
to.
send it to all.
Yeah, right. Will do.
Definitely planning and zoning.
Planning
at
and
a
zoning.
minimum.
Maybe Morgan then too.
I second.
That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're seconding.
Can you split it into two?
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Yeah, because we might want to vote differently. That's a good point. So the first motion would be to have the Greater Hilltop Area Commission sign on to this letter, offering our support as a commission, and that we would, so Shelley would have the opportunity to say, yes, we are in support of this, and we would sign this. So that's the motion. That Leah has seconded, so. I think we should just do a voice vote. All in favor of moving ahead with that? Say yes.
Yes.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Okay, so unanimously, we've voted to move forward with that. So the second motion would be to not only sign on here, but do a separate and distinct letter on GHAC letterhead that says we would support Highland Youth Garden and any of these other organizations that are listed here in support to be at the table to have a conversation about the overall use of that parcel, and that there be other options besides parking, and that we can put a lot of very specific information that we can collect around that area of the Greater Hilltop, and then just the importance of green space to the health and wellness of residents that live in the area. How's that?
I didn't get all of it, but I'll edit it later.
Yeah, that was long-winded. So
I have a question. Is anybody opposed to like adding to the letter a follow-up question as to how and why this is happening without any involvement from the commission? Because I just find it a little alarming that 1.4 acres of a vacant lot is quickly being converted into a parking lot without any community buy-in other than schools, Ashburn, and the Early Learning Center. Especially given that like we are seeing right now in this form that we are concerned that it is being converted into a 1.4 acre parking lot without any of our knowledge. So is anybody opposed to adding to that letter from this body a question regarding how is this being done without our knowledge so quickly and without any of our input, and how is the city going to address that kind of lack of communication moving forward?
I'll say that I agree. Except that I don't know that I want to conflate it with this because I want to give them the best chance of having the city say, oh, yeah, of course, we can do that.
I don't think there'd be anything wrong with like a separate inquiry.
Do you wanna, like, we can send that for planning and economic development, cause we like, I'm guessing that unless they're planning on selling it, they're like, it wouldn't fall in the purview of like going before an area commission, but it's something that we can like,
I mean, it's
reach out to.
straight up community development, like 101. You kind of get the buy-in of the community of when you're going to convert
Yeah, but
over an acre of vacant land into
right.
just about anything.
But it's the city.
Yeah, but they work for us. To an extent. I mean, I don't get paid to do any of this, but
Technically. No, I mean, I agree. Yeah,
I'm just a little frustrated that they're just doing it and being like, oh, sorry, we didn't ask you, but we'll ask for your apology later after it's already
We also
done.
don't have any information to share.
Yes.
I mean, they're already doing earthwork. They've got a plan and they're already contracts signed and ready to go. So I mean, they know what they're doing. If earth is being moved and fences are up. So they clearly know something, and they've known since June when they bought the lot.
Do you wanna, so I think doing an email from Parks and Rec and then planning and econ would make the most sense on that one. And then we can just like kind of like double back, invite them to a meeting to like one of our subcommittees and then try to get to the bottom of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the important question is what engagement have you done
That's what I'm
today,
like,
right? What engagement have you done?
What is the plan?
I just wanna know what the plan is.
I wanna know what the plan.
For all I know, that half of it is gonna be a park ride, that's the thing,
Sure.
not that I think you're being dishonest.
Right. Could be.
We don't know,
No idea.
we don't know.
Yeah, I also think that someone from the city should come forth and present like what it is. We can ask that, right? I don't care if it's at a committee meeting or the commission meeting or whatever the case may be, and give residents an opportunity to ask additional questions. Here's a question for you. When did you, and I know I was on some of the emails, but when did you figure this out? Was it last month? When did you start asking questions?
I started asking questions in October.
Okay, yeah, and that's when you saw some activity there?
Yep, started to see activity. I think I was aware in September that it had been purchased.
Okay,
Really busy, but I believe October was when I
Okay.
started asking.
so our questions and our letters should go immediately. Yeah, I guess is my point, right? Yeah, we
I know where
shouldn't
you're
tarry.
saying sense of urgency, but
Well, wait a minute, so I don't think we should tarry on it, in other words, 'cause,
Sure.
let's get it done
Yeah.
and let's send them.
Sure, and that's fine. I think this was actually the last group that I needed to
Okay.
come to, so I'm happy to
Yeah.
send it tomorrow.
And I'm even talking about ours,
Yeah.
like the ones that we're gonna send, yeah.
I would second Dan's second motion to write a separate letter.
For the second letter, second.
Okay, so, now that we have a second, any further discussion about writing a separate letter? Let's call to a vote, then, voice vote, everybody in favor of this separate letter, say yes or aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody want to abstain? Right, unanimously, we'll write a letter, so, anybody interested in drafting this letter? Any committee, anybody interested in doing it? Rachel, thank you.
Kayla wasn't in the room.
Oh, okay, so was you minus Kayla's vote?
sure.
Thank you all. I'm gonna sweep up those two letters, put them over here again for anyone.
Perfect. Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you.
All right, so on to our second presentation, Morgan, the both is here tonight to talk about, and I'm not gonna steal any thunder, no thunder stealing, so you've got something to tell us, something to show us.
Yes. Just talk about it. I can't project, so I need this. Thank you, Dan, for not stealing the thunder, but we were awarded the 614 Beautiful Grant. I'm representing both Hilltop Rise and the Place Pillars Subcommittee of the Envision Hilltop Plan. We applied as a Place Pillars Subcommittee for this plan. And really our goal with this project is to beautify through art. West Broad Street is, especially in the Hilltop, an exceptionally long stretch, and kind of ebbs and flows with commerce along it. And our goal really is to connect WNA and Highland West Civic Association, that entire corridor, and have unified branding. We would love to incorporate Sullivan Avenue, but for the sake of the $15,000 award, we're just focusing on Broad right now. So trying to capture the neighborhoods along Broad, which is Highland West and Westgate, and then north of Westgate, which there's some debate about exactly what that is called. So it's Great Southern, North Hilltop. Here's another one. Anyway, we're gonna figure out what the community wants that called, and then we're gonna work on branding it. We are going to functionally, if you want to go to the next slide. Back up, our key partners in this. You can go forward. I'm going to back up. The Envision Hilltop Place Subcommittee, Westgate Neighbors Association, Highland West Civic Association, Hilltop Arts Collective, and us. If you know anything about neighborhood politics, this is a big step forward to have everyone in support, on board for one unifying project. Next slide. Yep. So these two buildings are the ones that were located, ideal for murals. 2365 West Broad, we are looking at having a vertical mural on this building. This is the building directly across from the Dollar General, if anyone needs some orientation. And then we're looking at 3085 West Broad to have a mural here. Both murals, if you would like to go to the next slide, are going to be word heavy. So we're going to have a welcome to Westgate. As a bit of a celebration, this building was built in 1923. They're celebrating their 100th year as a neighborhood. So this is going to be kind of looped into their 100-year celebration. As a streetcar suburb, historically, they're looking at having a streetcar image on this mural, which I think is just beautifully done. Clint Johnson is going to be the artist for this one. He did the Franklinton mural that spells Franklinton, if you're familiar with that one. And then we're going to have neighborhood branded bike racks, which I have a slide later on I can show you. And then this vertical mural is hopefully going to be a few feet off the ground to deter some tagging, and then have those neighborhood branded bike racks there as well. So this is, of course, a business, but what we're hoping to have is neighborhoods. So my example, Highland West, and then have the tag the Hilltop and a neighborhood of neighborhoods, and really have this a neighborhood of neighborhoods as our unifying slogan across the Hilltop. We're massive. If we were standalone, we'd be the 11th largest city in the state. So I really want to encourage local neighborhoods to have their individual flavor, but also still hold on to that strength that we have with our unique distinctions. And I think that the feedback I've heard and the Place Filler has heard is that we really want that. Westgate really wants to be Westgate, and Highland West really wants to be Highland West, and Hilltonia really wants to be Hilltonia. So we want to hang on to those flares. And I think that that's a strength. So we're going to work with Neighborhood Design Center designed some really dynamic bike racks that have that unifying tag, but will call out the individual neighborhoods. So twofold, placemaking, let people know where they are, create multimodal, stop for people who are traveling by bike, and then, make sure that we're doing that unifying piece. So making sure that people know that even though it's Highland West, or even though it's Westgate or, Great Western, that we're all one neighborhood. This is our anticipated implementation timeline. This is our goal. If anyone has any questions, these slides can be made available to anyone here. It's also available on Neighborhood Design Center's application portal. It's 614beautiful.org. It has our entire presentation, so much more in-depth than what is being presented tonight. If anyone would like to look at our full application, I would encourage you to do so. Ask questions. If you would like to get involved with the work being done, you can go to our website. There's a place where you can send the email to be involved with the placeholder subcommittee there. I would love any and all folks who want to participate in this project, whether it's the design. Highland West is actually doing a juried application for their artists. Westgate had already established who they wanted. But the Highland West selection process is going to be much more involved with the neighborhood, which I love. And I would encourage anyone who is interested in volunteering or helping to organize launch events or install bike racks to reach out to me, and I would love to have your assistance. Next slide. And if you scan our QR code, you can get to our website. You can get to the 614 announcement very easily. Pretty much anything you need. If you want to sign up for our newsletter, we'll be sending out updates there. And then final unrelated plug is on the 12th, we're having our Empowering Business series here in this room. And we're going to be talking about different leases. So if you know any business owners that are either looking to sign commercial leases, hesitant to do so, wondering what triple net is, any of the above, send them our way, and that sign up is on here as well. I'm open to any questions.
This is really cool, especially like you said, seeing all these groups coming together for this, and the plan looks really great. As a cyclist, I have one question, which is that kind of design for the staying in the neighborhood, is that going to be on every one of the bikes?
Yes, so there are 4, so they will each have their individual neighborhood.
But I mean, like, each of the things that you lock onto is gonna have. So just a suggestion, either way, love more bike parking. They're a little hard to lock your bike.
Okay, I'm a cyclist as well. And there are some different designs. So we're going to be working with our, like I said, Neighborhood Design Center, and there's another one that's just like the street post up with the bubble, you know what I'm talking about. And I think that those are a little bit more accessible, especially for U-locks on the side now.
Yeah. Okay, cool. As long as you're thinking about it, just have it throw that there, but even if they all have that, love extra bike parking and the encouragement of bike parking, so really cool.
Absolutely.
Any question? So the corner of Westgate and Broad, I've noticed, especially recently, a lot of cars been parking up on the sidewalk, blocking where the mural is going to go. Is there any thought about like a deterrent, more of a deterrent other than the curb that is not really there anymore, to stop cars from coming up? Since we want to kind of activate like the pedestrian side of that area as well. Have you thought about any of that?
Maybe on the opposite side of that, I've thought about being able to pull cars up there more, mainly so we can activate it with food trucks so that we can create a community gathering space. So maybe the opposite of what
Either way, like if like you know, I don't want to pedestrian space with cars or a car space with a lot of pedestrians. So like just to keep, you know, people safe, to just try to like think about it a little more. But I mean, there's plenty of street parking around there, but still large cars seem to always block the walkway right there.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Yeah. We are spot on time, 7:15. Reports of officer. Oh, Zach is here. Hi, Zach. I don't think the mic is on. Not to put you on the spot, but do you have anything you'd like to share with us tonight as our zone attorney, and when is that coming to an end?
The end of the month.
The end of
Month.
the end of December. Okay.
Right. Everybody can hear me. Hi, everybody. Last time, Assistant City Attorney Zach Wynn. On behalf of Columbus City Attorney Zach Klein's office, I am the Zone 3 attorney, handling nuisance abatement cases on the west side of the city, including Hilltop. To report, we had a nuisance abatement on a drug house at 673 South Richardson Avenue. That property was vacated from a holdover tenant. And then I think the only other thing I have to report on, the Greyhound hearing is coming up the next week. I believe we've been asked to move all of our cases off the docket. I think it's about a 20 witness case. The mayor subpoenaed to testify by opposing counsel. And we will see what happens, but look for updates on that.
Who's court is that? Is that environmental court?
Yeah, yeah, Judge Mingo. So, Barons and Greyhound are separate parties in it. And then, yeah. Looking for, I'm not sure if our proposed order is a total board up and shutdown of operations. We went through a mediation, which, did not lead to a resolution. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah.
You know who is taking over for you?
I do.
Ooh.
Rob Dorson, Westgate resident.
Great.
It was very important to me that somebody on the west side served as zone attorney. So you can blame me if needed, it's not working out. I will still be on the west side, of course. And it has been a complete pleasure to work for all of you. And you are some of the best community activists that I get to work with and see. I really appreciate everything the Greater Hilltop Area Commission does for the neighborhood and how much all of you really care about your city and your friends and everyone here. And I just want to say thank you. And I guess I'll continue to work for you in a different capacity, but I just want to thank you all.
Thank you.
Any parting questions, anything you've been eager to know, or to ask?
Are you still gonna be doing the softball game?
I will still have to coordinate the softball game. I say, look, of all my contributions, I feel that is probably the most important, so it has to continue. Well, thank you.
So glad you're able to come, Zach. Okay, so on to our reports of officers. I don't have a specific report tonight. Does any other officer have a report? No, okay. Hearing.
Can I
So,
ask you a question?
yeah,
I think maybe it was at the planning and economic development meeting the other night, you talked about the fencing around what is that center? What's it?
Columbus Developmental Center.
Yeah, development. Do you know what's going on with that or?
I was gonna say Dean might be able to be very helpful. So if you're not aware, we could talk about this. Let's move up the Planning and Economic Development Committee meeting, then let's just do a report if that's okay from that committee. And at the meeting we had this week, Rebecca Hunley, who is part of Franklinton Neighbors, what's her organization? Franklinton
Area neighbors. Area neighbors.
Franklinton Area Neighbors, or forgive me, Rebecca. Area, I always forget the area word. We reached out and said, there is chain link fencing that's going up along Sullivan Avenue where the Columbus Developmental Center is on. If you're traveling west, it would be on the right-hand side or the north side of Sullivan. And she was asking if the Greater Hilltop Area Commission had heard of any plans or any thing related to that fencing that was going up. And so I told her that we had not, nobody had heard anything about it. She was able to pull some information, from the state of Ohio, what they call their controlling board. There was, a decision made to allocate some money to be able to do some fencing along Sullivan Avenue and along that entire, or surrounding the entire property, right? So they're on the residential part of Sullivan Avenue. You know, there was an architect and some different information that she was able to glean from the controlling board and was able to share that with us, but there isn't really any specific plan about what the fencing is gonna look like, how much fencing. It looks like the total budget's about $300,000 to do the work overall. And so Dean has his hand up in the back because Dean was there at the committee meeting and was able to say that he was gonna start to collect some more information. And so you sent a pretty comprehensive email since that meeting. Can you just give us an update of what you've been able to find out?
Yeah, so I haven't sent an email, or I should talk about this first. I haven't sent out an email yet to our partners at the state. But I did notice that in the bid to Kramer Engineers that there's a plan for about 1,500 feet of like 6-foot high wrought iron fence. So I'm hoping to get you know, some sort of rendering or image of what that's supposed to look like. But that's all I know.
Yeah, great. Yeah. So, I haven't heard back from Rebecca. There was some, you know, a group of people that were kind of texting one another. I just said, just let's email if you're gonna involve the commission. I said, you know, any questions, just let me know. We'd be happy to answer any about, were we aware, were we given any heads up about it? So, that's what I know. Do you have anything else you would add?
No.
No, okay. As more information comes, we definitely can share it internally through email and anything that we could do to help Rebecca just get some information out because she's, you know, is really seeking out what the plans are going to look like, et cetera. So I haven't driven down, I've not driven, is that a word? I've not drove by that area now for a couple of days. Chain link fence was still there. It was, you know, 5-6 feet tall. So at least when I last drove by, it was still there. Yeah.
And it looked like completion's supposed to be according to the.
Dean is saying, if you can't hear, it looks like completion of the project is due to be scheduled in June, so next summer by the
So I imagine the current fence is there, just temporary. We'll get that number.
in the controlling board, and I don't, you know, the documents that Rebecca was able to pull that the state of Ohio, and the Department of Developmental Disabilities said that there was concerns about just people walking through the area. So the fencing would help with that. There was other itemizations of why this fence was important and why the expenditure was important. You know, we can certainly make that available to anybody that wants to see it. It's public knowledge, you know, public information too, but what all was in there was trespassing. I think there's also a concern about people that live at the developmental center leaving the property too. And so the fencing is there to help protect people the way it was written in the application to the controlling board. So. All right, so I'll turn it over to our co-chairs of our Planning and Economic Development Committee, Simon and Victoria.
Yes, we had a fairly busy meeting this past Thursday. So first on old business, we voted on the land bank sale of 168 Whitethorn Avenue to SVS Home Improvement and Design. This is a for-profit developer that has worked on the west side for a while now. We voted 4-2 not to recommend the sale of that property. The rationale behind that was that the use of Columbus Land Bank vacant property to for-profit developers without any sort of conditions to ensure that it stays affordable is not within not good land use in our opinion as the commission. The yes votes voted along the lines of more housing stock is beneficial for the neighborhood. Additionally, we had Emma Kobe from
the city come give us more updates about the West Mound development. They are planning on bidding out the project next year, hopefully, for resurfacing along West Mound Street, starting on Wayne Avenue, going all just up to the highway. Some highlights from that are they will have majority of it will have bike lanes, but there will be no bike lane between Wayne and Whitethorn just because of how narrow the street is. Additionally, they're going to be replacing the flashing lights at Wheatland with a pedestrian overhead beacon. And then they're funding 4 mediums to discourage turn lane passage along around Clarendon, Hiltonia, Lacrone, and Central. Also, there is public opportunity to comment on the Bike Plus plan for next year online, and that will be open until December 15th. We'll be inviting Emma back to give more details about that plan, but if anybody would like that, I know OLBC put it in her email. And then we also had Stanley Gates from the Department of Neighborhoods to talk about the capital improvement budgets. We're trying to get a jump start on this. That way we can have the best chance of getting projects funded for next year. And so, we went through, they're really soliciting just 3 to 5 capital budget pieces or projects. They will be doing a bus tour. I think one thing that they were stressing is city council members and city leaders seeing what needs to be done in the neighborhood. It goes a long way, especially for funding these projects. And so they are also considering doing a participatory budget process next year where neighbors will vote on what projects they want to see in their community as well. They didn't have a deadline as to when they expect that to happen, but they think that, probably like February or March, that'll be decided. And then we also talked about not past land bank properties that have been sold to developers and like where they're at on that. So we've been following up with the land bank, specifically on 346 Ryan Avenue and then 262 Whitethorn Avenue, both sold to for-profit developers. As of right now, what we've seen is that there have been building permits pulled as of September 27th on the Whitethorn property. But we are going to keep an eye out for any updates regarding that.
Busy month, a lot going on. Just a good reminder, anybody's welcome to come to these committee meetings. They're on our website. There's a calendar there. We'll talk about when your next meeting is going to be. Do you have one scheduled?
We are not going to be meeting in December.
Not going to be meeting in December. So the next meeting will happen in January. That date we'll decide later. So thank you for all the work you're doing. Any questions for Victoria or Simon? Yeah.
What's the land bank?
The land bank is a city and
The land bank is a city and county owned. They're 2 land banks technically. They're both property that is owned by the city that is usually like vacant property or dilapidated houses that go into foreclosure and then are not bid upon, go to the land bank. And so those properties are then sold at like as close to market value as possible.
Did you guys have any discussion about what you potentially could advocate for capital improvements for next year?
When you say that, do you mean, did we talk about what we're planning on recommending or
just any ideas
from us or like what possible? What we've been trying to do is figure out what is actually more realistic in regards to like what will and will not be permitted. So one of the things that we talk a lot about is sidewalks. And so we got a lot more insight onto like what sidewalk projects would qualify and how we can go about getting resources for sidewalks. And so I think a lot of it is going to be attaining public input over the next couple of months. And then kind of sifting through that and figuring out those 3 to 5 projects that we really want to get. So I don't want to say anything out loud. Yeah.
No, I understand, I was just kidding.
They said one thing. So one of the things, at least as part of I've been involved with the commission, is the city will ask us. Sometimes we get a little bit of a notice, sometimes it's a little longer, but never been a lot to say, can you speak for the greater Hilltop and say capital dollars, where would they be best spent in the greater Hilltop? And so we are asked to come up with 3 to 5 top recommendations, and we really want to be engaged with everybody on the greater Hilltop to make sure we understand really what's a priority, what's feasible, all of that. So really proud of the work this committee's done last year. They worked with Avery Townsend and produced a form that you could fill out online. So anybody could fill out an idea or a way to spend capital dollars. All of those recommendations have been de-identified, but they've been shared with us. So we have a list of everything that came in last year. So we don't lose sight of what people have brought forward. So that'll continue to be work that information that we'll continue to bring forward, I would assume. And then we really have a much better runway this year to really get some good input and to get some prioritization of projects. It's exciting. So thank you for the work that you're doing. And thank you to Stanley for coming and being, for thinking about this, right? It's how can we get ahead of this? So those are what I wanted to have. That's okay. Any other questions? Okay. On to our zoning committee, Chairperson Rachel Winning. Michael?
Yeah. We did not have zoning meetings this month. We will be having one next month. It will be December 19th, 6 p.m. here at the library. There are 2 applications that will be on the agenda. I have one of the applicants confirmed, the other one hasn't responded yet, but one of them is 385 Clarendon. This is a use variance for a parcel that has 2 buildings. Each of the buildings has 2 units in it, and they would like the use variance in order to be able to have these 2 duplexes on it. It is zoned basically single family, so they would be allowed to have 1 duplex, but there's 2 on it. The other is for 2975 West Broad. This is also a use variance for use as a commercial property. It's zoned R4. They let us know, the owner on the application, that it has been owned by them and used commercially for 9 years. It's that building that, it has a sign on it that says urgent care, at least in the street view it does, I think it's still there. And so they've been renting it out as an office for 9 years, and they haven't had any issues. So basically it's a variance to allow them to keep using it that way. And I think that's all I have.
There are a number of demolition permits that will be coming to the meeting potentially.
Yes, so I will post those. We said we were gonna post those on Facebook.
That's right.
So I'll post those, see if there's any input, and then we can discuss that at the meeting.
Thank you. Any questions for Rachel? Okay, great. Thank you, Rachel. So shut the agenda down. We have another committee next, right? Let's do.
So we did not meet in
Community
November
relations.
because there were some issues with folks' schedules. So we've changed the meeting to the 12th, which is next Tuesday at 6:30 at the Design Refinery. We'd like to have representatives from each committee. So we'll be talking about the summit that was discussed last month for the spring. And then we will not be having another meeting in December that will constitute our December meeting as well.
So I want to add to that. So the summit topic, last month we talked about, I attended the safety committee. And so there was conversation around a lot of different questions and involvement and community engagement we wanted around some of our committees. And so we're going to be using that time. I happened to attend that committee meeting. We're going to use that time to try to develop, in collaboration with our residents, a summit that addresses a number of issues that they think is most important, not necessarily what we think is important, but what the residents think is important. And we're just placeholder summit, whatever we're going to call it. And we're going to be discussing that at this December 12th meeting at the Design Refinery. So if any of the folks that presented today want to be involved with that, or even in attendance, mostly in attendance, please come to that committee meeting, because I think it's going to be important. If you think about the people that presented today, those are good topics as well, right? And so we'll be using that time, and we do want it in the spring. So April, May, but there's a lot of things going on the hilltop in the spring, and maybe in conjunction with some of those things too. Some festival kind of stuff or something to that nature, okay? So I just want to add to that.
Thank you. Here, under our next committee, government legislation, our chairperson Leah.
Yes, we did meet last Tuesday. That will be our last meeting of the year. We're not meeting in December. We discussed the appointed seat, which we're going to be discussing in new business, so I won't linger on that. As an outgoing member, if anyone here plans to take over this chairmanship next year, I'd be happy to chat with you about just document handover, but that's all I got.
Thank you. Any questions for Leah? Thank you. On to our committee, Human Services and Education, our chairperson Joe Ardro. Do you have a report tonight?
No major items, but I do want to thank Victoria Klein and James White for their participation throughout the year on the committee. And we are currently scheduled for December 20th, but let's have a conversation about it because we're butting up right on the end of the holiday. So but that would be 6 o'clock here at the library if we do meet, but we'll keep it calendar current if that changes.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions for Joe? Our Liquor Permit Review Committee, Chairperson Andrew Stryker.
The new business, no place to be next month.
No meeting in the month of December. Okay. We've already done our planning and economic development. Our public safety chair people are not here tonight, neither one. So we did have a meeting this month. It was right after the planning and economic development committee meeting. There were 3 of us there. Haunted, I think, would be okay with me talking about the committee has worked on creating some literature that can be dropped at people's houses. It looks really good. I don't know who did the design work.
She's right there.
Yeah, Ashley did. I did not know that. I don't know if you have something to show or if you've got it in your back pocket or anything, but
Ashley, I actually have a stack of them.
Different than that.
Different from this, okay?
this is different. It's got kind of a list of resources. If you kind of are new to the area, if you Ashley may be able to show us some of the phone photos. I don't know, putting you right on the spot, but I know those are the point where those are designed, they're ready to be printed, right? Ready to go to print.
I thought it wanted one change.
She did.
Okay.
I have not received the change yet.
This is not an official committee report. I'm doing my best here, but yeah, so there may be some changes, but it's soon to come out. We're really excited about that. So it'll be an opportunity. Yeah, she had it. She showed us on the phone at the committee meeting, so look good. So more to come. I'll leave it at that. Any questions? All right, so our final committee report, Recreation and Parks, Chairperson James White.
Hello, everybody. It's been a pretty good year. The committee was able to get to 9 of our 18 parks this year for in-person audits. to do like a year-end report. 2 parks did go down, a whole grade from their previous grade. So one of them being Stephen Drive Park, was fair graded in 2021. The 2023 grade has gone down to poor. This is one of those, parks on paper parks. There's no amenities, there's no sign. So we're really trying to push home to the, Rex and Park Department that there needs to be something installed in this park. The other park that was downgraded, was roads. This is just due to aging infrastructure, the fact that the state is, borderline refusing to do an extended lease with the city so that the city could actually install new updated equipment, as well as overall conditions of the grounds, since it's primarily used as recreational fields. The fields themselves are in dire need of regrading. A giant magnet kind of drove over the whole entire park to pick up any loose metal and debris. We will not be having a meeting this month in December, but if you do want to get on our Google Drive, we do have an updated schedule of the other 9 parks that we will be going to next year. The dates on those park audits are not out yet, but they will be discussed in January when we do have an in-person meeting here at the library with city staff to go over the audits from this past year. We will have Rex and Park Department officials and staff members, hopefully some new city council members, maybe Melissa Green, to kind of push home the roughly $13 million that we're trying to ask for park improvements for the top 5 parks. The majority of that budget comes from a $5 million ask for Georgian Heights. It's another park on paper, but has no site amenities. So we're asking roughly $5 million for that. Another big ask is a bridge to connect Westmore to Camp Chase Trail. Those in themselves are expensive because you have to get the railroad tracks involved. And they're pretty stingy about how they need a lot of money for them to just say yes. So that's the 2 biggest asks so far from the park audits. But we will be discussing all of the 9 parks that we did audit this past year in January and February with city staff officials. Again, those are Saturdays. Sorry, I don't have the January one up. It'll be the 20th here at the library at 11 a.m. And then just to round back, we did audit Hans Park last year. It has been rated poor, but the city has announced that they are going to use grant funding upwards of minimum $500,000 to $1 million, $1.5 million of grant funding that they have to redevelop Hans Park. There is another meeting left that will be held at Glenwood Rec Center, January 4th, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. To get community feedback, input, recommendations, their community concerns. So if anybody's interested, there is a meeting at Glenwood Rec Center for Hans Park redevelopment, January 4th, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. You can also submit your recommendations online. There will be a link posted to our Facebook page on where you can do that. Again, I just want to say thank you to everybody who came out to a park audit. We also picked up trash while we were doing these. We also tried to update the Google listing with current photos of what's in the park. We just look forward to another great year of being active and engaged in our 482 acres of green space that we have here in the Hilltop. So I just, again, want to say thank you to everybody who participated. Thank you to everybody who showed up. Again, I think we picked up about 20 bags of trash in total. So it makes a huge difference. I just want to say thanks to everybody. I know we got one of our rec center employees here in the audience tonight. So thank you for everything that you do. And thank you for everything that the commissioners have done for making the Hilltop a safer place to live. Oh, Sam, you have a question?
Yeah, hi. Michelle Phillips. I live in the north part of Island West, along the bike trail. we've had a few issues, but I wanted to give you an update on Rhodes Park. They're now grading the parking areas to the back of the park. This has just occurred Thanksgiving week forward. And they've added more erosion boulders for where the water makes the bend there to go underneath the freeways. But they have been down there regrading those, and it's been needed forever because you can park a car in some of those holes. However, one of the most disturbing things that I've seen in the past year in our parks, to include Fulton Park, is people dumping their dead pets. Live pets also. We had a rabbit situation, the one where we caught them a month after Easter and got them rehomed. And there are the various kittens and puppies. But maybe on the website or something, and I've been lighting up 311 about this and different city departments. When you find a dead animal, there's a big difference in who comes to get it and how long it takes. The most recent one was an 80 to 100-pound dog dumped right in the parking lot at Rhodes Park. It was there from a Thursday evening until the following Monday evening. There was a boys football team that was down there practicing, and I kept trying to get this thing moved. That is Parks and Rec has to come get it. Well, when they finally came and got it on that Monday, they didn't take the bloody tarp that it was wrapped up in. So that was yet another phone call. And it's kind of disheartening. Another dog that was smaller, probably a 35-pound, less than a year-old puppy, was dumped in the back of Fulton Park. But because it straddled the roadway and then onto park property, that was a sanitation piece. And these things, we really need to get out to our residents somehow. And I've said this to 311 and different departments of the city on what to do with your pet. And there is assistance for people that don't have the money to pay for it themselves. And the last thing is, of course, here we go, we get to November, December. I was very hopeful. For years, I've complained that nobody goes to the bathroom from November through the end of March. They take the porta-johns out of the parks. Well, this year they had left them in Rhodes and in Holton through December. Well, then they came and got the ones out of Rhodes to the back because they're regrading the parking alleys. Makes total sense. However, up at the playground, there's nowhere for the children to go to the bathroom. And who's sitting in the cars watching them? There are also no trash receptacles. So if you have a diaper, dog poop, or anything else to throw out, there are no trash cans. And so that's another thing. How are we gonna have our people be more respectful of our parks and do the right thing if we're not providing trash cans? So that's been my latest thing the past month. But I don't know how we could get better communication about some of those items, especially concerning the pets.
Thank you.
Thank you. I definitely didn't know anything about the pet situation, but I'll make it a bullet point for sure topic to be talking about city staff officials when they're here in January.
It did make it out on Facebook for the most recent one.
Okay.
So that's not a shining star for our city or parks.
Thank you for that. All right, so that concludes our reports of our committees. Just again, thank you for all the work. This is a busy group of commissioners, and it's the work that you do month after month. Again, I make these shameless plugs. Anybody that's welcome to come to these committee meetings at any time. You can come to one and not come back for a couple. There's no commitment. You're welcome at any time. So on to new business. So we just had an election, but the commission has 3 appointed seats, and the appointed seat, there's an appointed seat that's open, right? I'm talking to the microphone. Our appointed seat is open. So tonight I'm going to turn it over to Leah, if that's okay. Yeah. As the order of the new business is nominations for the open appointed seat that we have on the commission.
Yeah, so just a quick rundown. I know I've said this before. Every year we have 4 open elected seats and 1 open appointed seat. They all serve together as commissioners, a 3-year term. The appointed seat, unlike the elected seats, does not have the same requirement to be a Hilltop resident. So for the appointed seat, you just have to live, work, or own property within our boundaries. Tonight, we will be making first round nominations, and then final nominations will be made at our January meeting, which, Dan, I think this is on the agenda, but is formally moved.
Yeah, the next on the agenda is the library is not open on Tuesday, January 2nd. It's closed. So we're either gonna have to move the location of the meeting, or we're gonna have to pick an alternative date. So the library does have available space on Wednesday the 3rd and Thursday the 4th. It's becoming more and more popular meeting space use here. Gonna talk a little bit about that in a minute, but James just announced that there's a meeting on Thursday the 4th at Glenwood, et cetera. That would be a conflict, but yeah, so I want to propose that our next full commission meeting be on Wednesday the 3rd, right, first, second, third. So we can move and talk about that if it's helpful to, but let's finish with the nominations.
Let's come back to that in just a moment.
Yeah.
So tentatively on the 3rd, the first Wednesday rather than the first Tuesday of January is when our formal appointment and vote will take place. The process for that, sitting commissioners have the opportunity to nominate someone who falls in those categories of live, work, or of property within the Hilltop boundaries. Those nominees then have a chance to speak on their own behalf, say, you know, who am I and why do I want this spot? Why will I be good at it? And then the commissioners go around and do a voice vote of who they would like to vote for. Sometimes that takes multiple rounds, just depending on how many people we have and how the numbers fall out. So I will open it up now. If we have first round nominations that would like to be made, I'll reiterate that this is not the last opportunity. I have had 2 or 3 people express interest to me, and commissioners express that they potentially have folks to nominate who could not physically be here tonight, or that just need to clear up a couple of things. So I do anticipate a decent pool of candidates in January, but if anyone has someone that they would like to put forward tonight, the floor is open. Okay, seeing none, we will wait until January. Again, I anticipate a good group of people. In the meantime, if any of you have folks in mind, please encourage them to start talking to commissioners, to kind of get their names out. If anyone would like to, if we know folks are going to be nominated, I would encourage them to submit a short written bio to me so I can get those compiled and around commissioners, just so no one is blindsided in January. That's how the process will work. I'd like to reiterate what Dan said a moment ago. In addition to our sitting commission seats, we did update our bylaws about 1.5 years ago to allow community members to formally sit on our number of committees. That would include a formal appointment as well as opportunities to vote if those come up in committee. So if any of you are interested in a smaller commitment or just want a more formalized seat in this process, please do reach out to committee chairs for that.
Let me just add a couple comments about January when we decide when we're going to have the meeting. So the way it works for new commissioners, we will start the January meeting with the election of officers. So there's the chairperson, the vice chairperson, the secretary, and treasurer. Those get nominations are heard, and we vote on those positions every January. So any commissioner that would be interested in any of those positions, be thinking about that. If you want to ask another commissioner to nominate you, or somebody may do that on your behalf and surprise you, or you can nominate yourself. So in any of those ways will work. So we'll make a decision on officers, and then after that, the presiding chair will take care of the nominations and then the eventual voting for the appointed seat. So on to, any other questions for Leah, or any questions about the process? Okay, so final order of new business, because we did already talk about a letter of support for 66 Highland Avenue and the use of that, would be our full commission meeting date for January. It's just the library's closed on the second, didn't know that. Mike Alcock, who does a great job here, assistant manager, he has gone ahead, I'm sneaking some stuff in here. He has gone ahead and scheduled committee meetings for all of next year, based on the current cadence of meetings that we have now. If you have a meeting at the library, what's that? Love it, yeah, so, but what happens, and I want all the commissioners to be thinking about, the committees, the chairperson that's elected in January then makes decisions on what committee placements all commissioners are a part of. So be thinking about the committees that you would like to be a part of, and for new commissioners, looking for typically 2, maybe 3 of the committees that we have. Where would you be interested? And you would be giving that to the presiding chairperson to make a decision and announcement at the February full commission meeting. So it's important to have those, if you have any preferences to get those, because if not, you'll just be seated on a committee. So we're trying to condense committee meetings so they go back to back on a couple occasions. So, you know, we're kind of, we're had some degree of success, some degree of maybe some of that may change, but all that's up for grabs. But I want to let you know that Mike did schedule committee meetings throughout the rest of the year. He's scheduled full commission meetings out throughout the rest of the year. There may be some times we're not going to have meeting room 1 and just 2 and 3. It's getting busy. So the meeting rooms are open to the public 90 days ahead of time. You can schedule 90 days out. So he's doing a big favor for us to kind of go behind the scenes and schedule all those. So can I just propose that we, I think we could meet Wednesday or Thursday. Leia's encouraging us to meet that first week, not let it to go into the second week, because the appointed seat needs to be approved by the city. And so that'll give them the month of January, and they'll be able to sit in February if we meet still the first week of January. You give me a thumbs up. Okay. So it's really a choice, Wednesday or Thursday.
I prefer Wednesday because I'm planning to be at Glenwood on the Thursday.
Yeah, perfect.
But I think both.
Okay. So I'm gonna put a motion out that we meet 6:30 p.m. Wednesday, January 3rd here at the Hilltop Library.
Second.
Thank you, Andrew. All in favor of Wednesday? Anybody not want to do Wednesday? Anybody abstaining? All right. We're gonna have our next full commission meeting then on Wednesday, January 3rd.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So those of us who are chairing committees and continuing on to the commission next year will still chair in January. And then in February, new people will take over.
Yes, that's a great question. If everybody here at current chairs will preside over their committee meetings in January, everybody will be seated to their committees in February. And at that point, any new chairs would be kind of seated at that time. Great question, thanks. Okay, hearing no other questions, then I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn our meeting at 7:58. Yeah. Yeah, thank you everybody for being here.
Did someone second?
Second. Oh, yeah.
The claps alone did it. So anybody not want to close the meeting down? Thank you very much.